Hi everyone. Welcome back to Cat Simplified channel. Um, I want to find out if everyone can hear me. Just put by the comment section if you can hear me out. And then I've also shared a link where you can access the question paper that we are going to discuss today. Yesterday, I shared this question paper with you as a sample um, paper that everybody can use to prepare for your upcoming prep examination. So just put by the comment section if you can hear me, then I can start. Hear and see the screen as well. All right, thank you very much. Right, if you can hear me, then I'm going to start straight away. Today we are going to take a look at text functions. Now, we just have to remind ourselves what are some of the things that we must be expecting about text functions. And remember, text functions will be available in your prep examination, but it will come in different forms. So I just want us to um, just remind ourselves what kind of text function should we expect in the upcoming prep examination. Now, I will start with the left. We also have text functions like write, and then we have mid, we have concatenate, or we can say concat, or we sometimes use shift and 7 to combine, or we can also use text join. So those ones are to combine. And then we also have functions like upper, and then we have lower. Upper for uppercase, and then we also have lower for lowercase. Now, basically, these are the text functions that most of the questions that we have experienced or seen so far, they combine these text functions in order to yield results. So today we are going to look at different form of text functions and then the questions, then we will solve them together. Right. I'm going to begin. So you can open your Excel for me so that I can start from there. Those of you using devices, you can open Excel. Just a new Excel so that we can use it. Right. So I'm going to have name, and then surname in column A. Then I'll have age, and then I'll also have province. Right. So I'm going to type name and surname put together. So I will first type with Catleho. Then followed by space and then bracket, then Mampa. So Mampa is the surname which is in the bracket. And then I also have Maggie, Ngobeni, which is the surname in bracket. And then I also have Tiamo and then Molloy in bracket, that's the surname. Then each of them have the age 25 years, 32, and then 18 from Northwest, GP, and then Western Cape. Right. So I want to develop some questions. And then whenever you are solving questions regarding text functions, please solve them step by step in the building block. So I'm going to create a building block here. You always be given a building block. Then you have to use that building block to solve them step by step. If it is not there, you can create one for yourself as well. So let me begin with a question. Let's say we want to only retrieve the names. Or let's say I'll start with the first three letters of the name. So the first three letters of the name, and then also the last two letters. And then I want to also retrieve name only. And then I want to retrieve surname only. Right. Now, because they are talking about the first three, so anytime you see first, then you know you must use the left function. So take note. Anytime you see first is the left function. When you see last, and then it is the right function. Then alternatively, we can use the mid function to solve questions regarding the left or the right function. So the right mid function can be used as an alternative to left or the right function. Now, the first three characters of this name and surname will use the left function. And to achieve that, you press the equal sign, start typing left. You don't have to finish typing. You will see it there in most cases. Double click on it. It will open the bracket for you. Go to the formula bar and click on the FX. So where it says text, always click on the cell you are referring to. In this case, A2. And then the number of characters, because the question says the last two, oh no, the first three. So the number of characters will be 3. So it gives us KAT. Now, the last two, you have to use the function called right. So equal sign, right. Click on FX. and then you click on the cell, that is the text. The number of characters, you put 2. Now, here, we have a problem because let's say we are looking for PA, but here they just said the last 2 letters, so we just 2 is fine. We will come back to it whereby we have to remove the bracket. Now, if the question says convert this one to uppercase, then we need to use the function called upper. Now, how do we use the upper? We can make use of that in the building block. Let's say we put a function in the building block, and then we come and put it here, the final answer. Or after getting this answer, go to the formula bar. You will see equal sign there. Just click after equal sign, and then you start typing upper. Double click on the FX, and then you press enter. It's going to change automatically for you. I'm going to repeat here. Let's say here we want to change it to lowercase. Go to the formula bar, just after equal sign. Click there, then you type lower. Double click on that FX, and then press enter. So it's going to convert it to lowercase for you. Right. Now, if you are to combine this, let's say we want to combine this, then we have to use concatenate or concat. So you just press equal sign, click on your first answer. I will urge you to use the shift and then 7, that is to join. That one you easily remember it. It's just like plus, you are combining. And then you click on the second one. And then press enter. Right. Now, so here we have combined these two. Sometimes you can get a question that says, followed by maybe at yahoo.com. So you go to the formula bar again, you put and shift and 7, then you put that in inverted comma at yahoo.com. So that it will join. Right, so basically this is how we use the concatenate or combining. We are going to see several questions today, how to tackle these questions. Right, now, I want us to look at this one that says the name only. In other words, we want to retrieve only the name. That's Catleho. We want to retrieve only the names, Catleho Maggie, and then Tiamo. Now, when you have this kind of situation, there is no way that you are going to use left, like this one equal sign left, and then you click here. How many characters? And then you count the number of characters for cat level, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You put 7 there. It gives you cat level, all right, but then when you drag down, you get Maggie, which is 6, and then you get Tiamo, which is also correct. But then what if Catleo is having more than that? Let's say Maggie is having more than that. It's not going to give you the full name for Maggie. So in other words, the number of characters are not the same. So you can't just put 7. It won't work. So for you to achieve that, we have to use combination of functions. So if you are taking from the left-hand side, whereby the number of characters are not the same. In other words, there are 2 or more items in one cell. Like here we have Catleo and then Mampa put together. In this situation, you need to do more. That is, you need to use the left function and other function. So I'm going to summarize it here for you. When you have that situation, when you have compound text in one cell and you are retrieving from the left-hand side. If you are retrieving from the left-hand side, you need a left, and then you also need the function called find. But if you are retrieving from the right-hand side, then you need right, and then you need a function called find, and then you also need another function called len. So take note, if you are taking from the left-hand side, then you will need these functions, that is left and then find. But then if you are taking from the right-hand side, then you need right, find, and then len. Why do we need that? Because when I'm taking from the left-hand side, I need the left-hand side, that's the left function. Now, where does capital N? It ends just after this O, and then after O, there's another character there, which is space. So in other words, there's a space separating capital and then mampa. There's a space. So I need to find the position of that space. And that is why I need both functions. Now, to do that, make use of building block. It will make your life, you have to use the find function. Equal sign, find text. What text are we finding? That's the space. So you press the space bar. Within which text am I looking for the position of the space? That is A2. So it gives me 8. That is the position of this space separating capital and then mampa. Now, after that, I need to go here and put my answer, which is the left function, equal sign left. And then you click on FX. So the text will be A2. The number of characters will be the answer that I got here for the find. And then you just say -1. Why do we say -1? Because we don't want to include the space. Remember, the space here is the position. This 8 here is the position of that space. So I don't want to include that space. That's why I put -1. Therefore, I'll get all of them perfectly. If I drag this one down, this will also work. Right. So basically, whenever you are looking for the first characters within whereby there's a compound text, then you need to use the left and then the find function. Don't forget to use the find inside the building block. And then after that, you use the left function. Right. Now, this one becomes a little bit complex. That is the send name only. Now, like I said, send name only, we need to use right function. But if I use the right function here, it's going to start by counting or extracting the close bracket. This is what it's going to be. If I use the right function, it's going to start by counting or extracting the close bracket. But then meanwhile, I need only mampa. So meaning I need to use the mid function to replace find. Or not the mid function to replace the right function. Why do I use the mid function? That means I want to start extracting from letter M up to this point. So I will need mid function. And like I said, when you are taking from the right-hand side, we need, first of all, we need a find. So this one is for find. We need also len. So now that I have the find answers, I must use the len equal sign len. And then I click on this A2, the total length, which is 15. So now when I have the len and then I have the find, I must subtract the value for the find from the value for the len. So in examination, take note, you take out the smaller value from the bigger value. So here I'm going to have equal sign, find value minus the find value, equal sign the len value minus the find. So here will be len minus find. So when you are extracting from the right hand side, we will need this len minus find as our number of characters. But if you are extracting from the left hand side, we need the value for for find. So you must take note. Now that I have this, that the len minus find, I can use mid function here. Equal sign mid. And then the text will be A2. Start number. Where am I starting to count from? Remember, I'm starting to count from the position of this one. That's the bracket. Remember, each of them is 7 brackets. So it should be position of the bracket. That is the find value. So the start number will be the find value. And then the number of characters will be find len minus find. Now, as you can see here, I get the mampa, but then the problem is there's a bracket. So I'll just say +1 -1. I still get the same answer. The reason being that, remember here, the find, I use the one for the space, not the open bracket. So meaning from the space up to mampa is 2 characters. That is the space and then the open bracket. So I might say +2. And then I must take out 2 from here as well. Why do I take 2? Because it will jump after the closed bracket. I must subtract it. Now I'm getting them perfectly. So all that I want to say is, if you come across this, whereby there's a bracket or something enclosing the one that you must extract, you need to use mid function together with len minus find, but the number of characters, you need to make use of +1 or +2 based on where you started from, and then the same, you subtract the same number. So here, because I started from space, I said +2 because I need 2 characters before I can jump to M, which is for mampa, and then -2 as well. Right. So basically, this is how we do this complex text function. Now, I will check from the comment section. If there's any comment, then I'll address it before I start solving questions. If you have any question, don't forget to ask before I proceed and then start answering questions. Right. Now, there's no question, so I'm going straight to the question paper that I shared yesterday, which is the August paper that I shared. Now, I will start with the first spreadsheet question. Yeah, that's 3.5. I'm going to look at 3.5, which is a text function. And it says, insert a combination of functions in cell D3 to extract a user's initial from the full name in column B for 5 marks. Now let's take a look at that one. 3 password. Now, as you can see here, the initials are inside bracket. Now we want to use a function to extract the initials from this bracket. So there's no building block here, so I'm going to create myself a building block. Building block is provided to solve questions step by step. So I'm going to provide one. Now let's analyze this. You can see that the initials are from the right hand side, but then there's a bracket closing them. So I need to ensure that I use the mid function, because if you use the right function, it's going to be complicated. It's easier to start from the open bracket. That's by using the mid function. Right. So to use the mid function, we will first have to use a function called find to determine the position. So equal sign, find, and then you click on fx. So now what text are we finding? We are finding the open bracket. Why? Because that is the text or the character that separates the initials from the rest. So we have to determine that one. That is the open bracket within B3. So I got 6. This one is the value for find. And then I will need a length function also to determine the total number of characters. So I'll just say equal sign length. You click on fx of B3. Now, when you have these two answers, you move to the next column and say length minus find. In other words, I'm going to take out the value of find from the length. So equal sign the length value minus the find value. So this one now becomes the number of characters I'm going to use. Equal sign mid. The text will be B3. Start number. Which number am I starting from? I'm starting from the value for find, because that's the position that is separating the two. And then how many characters do I need? The value for length minus find. Now you can see from here the answer is 7 open bracket. So you just say plus 1 minus 1 to take out the open bracket and then also the closed bracket. So you just say plus 1 minus 1 and then okay. Now if I autofill here and this one as well, so now I got the right initial. Even if I change these initials, let's say I put more initials here, it's still going to get the right answer for me. So basically, this is how we do when we have this type of questions for 5 marks. Right. Now, let's say you had another question that is talking about inserting a code. Let's say they want a code, and then they say the first 3 characters followed by something, another thing like the normal one. So you also use the building block to solve them step by step. Let's say I want the first 3 characters. I use equal sign left. To the left of the name and surname. How many characters? 3. So I got the answer here. And then here, right, of the security measures, how many characters? 2. And then I have another character that is, let's say the question is combining all of them. Another character called X or hashtag SO. So you just put equal sign, or you can just type it in inverted comma, hashtag SO. Now I can drag them down. Right. Now, when you solve them step by step like this in the building block, now you can put them together. If, let's say, they want all of them to be in uppercase, you can solve them here, and then after that, you go and put it in your final answer. So let's say we are putting all of them together. You press equal sign, the first answer, followed by end, the second one, shift and 7, and then the third one. Now, when you have your final answer here, you can now put them together in uppercase. So you go to where you must put the answer. Let's see here. Equal sign, upper. Then you go and click on your final answer from the building block. So you don't need to make it too complex. Solve them step by step in the building block. Then after that, you put the final answer inside where you are supposed to put the answer. Then your work will be easier. Right. Now let's look at other questions regarding the text function before I move to another topic. I will pick this year's June question paper. That was this year's question paper. I'll pick it, and then the June 2025, the supplementary question paper. Like 3.7. It says an attempt was made to find the three letters abbreviation of each country from the code worksheet. Modify the function in F9 so that the correct abbreviation will be shown. Now let's look at the data file, which is 3 rank. And the question is, you must work in the tournament worksheet. Oh, this is a lookup. So this is a lookup question because they have to take it from here. The three-letter abbreviation was here. So it's a lookup. We'll come to that tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be looking at lookup function and other functions as well. Today we are focusing only on text function. So let's look at other questions that we can find text function. Let's check question 4. Or question 7. Right, there is no text fun there was no text function question. I will check other questions as well so that we'll be able to understand this concept. I'm going to use the JIT 2025 question paper. Right, this one, it says for checkout, insert a combination of function in cell A8 to create a member code in small letters as follows. Now, here are the keyword. It should be in small letters. It should be in small letters. That is lower. The length of the member's details to the power of 4, followed by a dash, followed by the first two letters of the member's details. So I'm going to open for checkout. From spreadsheet. Right. So in A8, now we cannot just solve the question here. We have to solve them step by step in the building block. The first one says the length of a member's details to the power of 4. Now we have to first use the length function by using a function called len, equal sign len. The text is the member's details. So we got 15. Now it says to the power of 4. That means raised to the power of 4. So we have to use power function, equal sign, power. So the number will be this 15 to the power of 4. We got this. And then the next one says dash. So we have to put dash, the equal sign, dash in inverted comma, so that we have dash here, or you can just put dash there. But I prefer you put equal sign and then you put dash in inverted comma. Then the next one says the first two letters of the member details. So the first two letters we use left. Member details, how many characters? 2. So now we have this. We are going to use this one. We will need this. And then we will need this one. We don't need it because this is the one we use for len, and then we use the power function to raise to the power 4. So we need these three to put them together. So I will move to the next column, and then I use the concatenate or concat or text join. You can use any of the functions. Equal sign, I click on the first answer. Shift and then 7. I click on the second answer. Shift and then 7. I click on the third answer. So here I got it. Now I need to bring this one to this side all in lowercase. Now remember, in examination, if you don't take it there, they will punish you for that. So you have to come to where you must put the answer, equal sign. There's a lower, because the question should be in lowercase. And then you click on this answer. So this is our final answer for 6 marks. So please solve the questions step by step in the building block to make your life easier. Then after that, you take it to the destination or where you have been asked to put the answer. Right. Let me check if there's any question. Yeah, good. Someone is talking about prelim questions. Yeah, we'll be doing a lot of prelim questions as well. Right. So that is it for the text function. Now let me move straight to the paper I sent out again. Now the first one, 3.1. 3.1, delete the outdated log sheet from the spreadsheet. So this is outdated. You right click and choose delete. The second question, add the text security alert as the alternative text to the image in cell A1. There's an image here in A1 that the question wants us to put the alternative text. Now, just like the image, when you right click, you see the view alternative text, then you'll be able to type it there. You type it there as the alternative text, and then you close it. So when we are marking, we will check it also there. It will be there. Right. The next question, insert a count ifs function in L1 to determine how many users have enabled two-factor authentication and agreed to make use of these safety precautions in column E. So how many chose two-factor authentication and agreed? That means they chose Y here, that is yes. And I must put the answer here. So I have to use the count ifs function, equal sign, count ifs. Remember, count ifs whether the number of criteria is 1, 2, or 3. You can still use count ifs. And then I click on FX. So criteria range 1, I'll first pick the first one. Let's say column G. I select the safety measures. And then the criteria, I'm looking for two-factor authentication. And remember, the two-factor authentication is a long one. Either you copy and put there, or you can just say star or asterisk 2 asterisk. Or you can say T star. T star means begin with letter T. Or you pick the first 3 letters or something, then you put a star before and star after. That means it contains the letter 2. So that it becomes easier for you. And the criteria range 2 will be the safety precautions. Then the criteria is Y. So we got 5. Forget about the range because there are 5. Maybe the formatting part should be number. Right. Enter a lookup function in cell F1 to display the name of the user ranked 4th in the security score for 4 marks. Now here is F1. Remember, I created a new column, so it's F1 here. Right, now the question says, we must display the name here of the person who is ranked number 4 here. Rank number 4, that means um, in terms of ranking, that is from the highest to the lowest, or maybe from 1 to 3. The question was not clear there, but I think it's from the lowest. Ranking is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's from the lowest. So we have to use VLOOKUP, or we can use XLOOKUP to solve this question. Now, let me use VLOOKUP. So the VLOOKUP, I have to select the rank and then the name. The question is talking about the name, not the surname, right? So I must select the rank, the surname, and then the name. And then I right click and give it a name by say define name. So I can give it a name as A. Now, why do I give it a name? I want to restrict it so that these three columns here do not change, become absolute. Or you can even put a dollar sign there as well. So here, because it's vertical, I use VLOOKUP because the table is vertical. I can also use XLOOKUP. I will show you how to use XLOOKUP as well. So here I can use VLOOKUP. The table array will be the name of the table. And then the column index, I'm picking the names. So to be column 3. Now, the lookup value is where you have to now study the question. The question says the one who is ranked 4th. That means when you sort all this from first up to the last, the one in the 4th position. So I must use the function called small. Small, then I open bracket. Now, when you open bracket, just go to the formula bar, you see small. Just after the small, click there. It's going to create a space for you to choose your small, or you can just use the small function. So the K is 4. This one is not needed. Then I go back to my VLOOKUP. I put the table array A and then 3. Now it gives me hashtag NA. That means the lookup here, I must put false. When you get a hashtag NA, you put false. If you don't get it, that's the true. Right. So this is a more complex lookup. Or alternatively, I could have gotten that one by, first of all, in my building block, creating small function. I create a small function. Then I select all the rank. And then K will be 4. So I got 38, the 4th in terms of the ranking. And now I can go and use the VLOOKUP here. VLOOKUP, the lookup value will be this 38. And then the lookup array is A, the name. And then the column index is 3 from column 3. And then the lookup range is false. Then I got the same answer. So you can also use the building block to solve this step by step to break it down. That's how we solve that question. Right. Now, 3.5, we already talked about it. 3.6, use a spreadsheet feature to display the names of all users in red, where the security risk measure is password for 5 marks. This is also a higher order spreadsheet feature called conditional formatting. Now, I'm applying on security measures. So I select all the security measures. Now the question says to display the names. Yeah, so I'm going to apply on the names. So I will select the names. And then I go to conditional formatting, new rule. Now, anytime you are comparing two columns, in this case, whenever I see password here, the name should be highlighted, meaning I'm comparing two columns. When you see that kind of situation, it is a formula to determine which cell to format. We don't use any of this. We use the last one, which is use a formula to determine which cell to format. And then you click here. Then this is where you're going to put the formula. Now, whenever this one, which is G3, is equals to password. But we don't need to make the G3 to be absolute. Why? So because it must compare each, so it should be relative. Wherever they see password, it will highlight. So if it is absolute, you must remove the dollar sign. So I can now use, the arrow. If it gives me a problem, you just put a G3. If you give pro, just type G3 because you're comparing the first one. It shouldn't be absolute. G3 equals to password. So I click on G3, but then the dollar sign should not be there. Then I'll format it to fill in with a red color. And then OK. So it's going to highlight wherever it is password, then it will highlight or fill with the red color. Right. So let me show you. So formula equals to G3 equals to password. Then it should fill with the color applying to column C. So that is how we do this type of conditional formatting. Right. And then the last one, before we bring today's meeting to an end, today will be a short one for an hour. This week we'll have 2 meetings again, whereby I will go more than an hour. Right. The 3.7, we will do this also within the week. That is Monday, and then Wednesday, I will send a link also to the group. Then one question that always appear in spreadsheet, the subtotal feature. Now it says use a subtotal feature to display the minimum security incident per security measure. Ensure that each category starts on a new page. So here we go to the summary worksheet. Now, the first thing you need to do is to highlight and then you sort. So we need to select and then we sort in ascending order. We are sorting according to security measure. Now, after sorting, then you will see the subtotal from data, then you see subtotal. Now, according to the question, it says the minimum security incident. So the function should be min. And at each change in is the column that you sorted according to. Like now, we sorted according to security measure. So here at each change in will be the security measure. And then the function should be min. and adding subtotal to security incident. Right. Then the last part that says ensure that each category start on a new page. So you take a page break between groups. Page break between groups and then okay. So you will see this, that's the page break creating after each group. So if you try to print, it will separate them. The first one and then the second one. So each group will have its own page break. Right. So basically, this is how the question 3 is supposed to be done. Right. Um, any question? I will check. I'm going to check from the group if there's any question. Right. There's no question, so I will end the lesson here today. I will share this one. We're gonna have more coming weeks, and then we have more lesson. So if you have any question that you want us to tackle before the prep, what's the challenge? Don't forget to put it in the group, the WhatsApp group. I will address that in our upcoming meetings. Thank you for your time.